Good morning, students. We are going through third part of this chapter, classification and preparation of colloid. This is again important part of this chapter. Colloids. Let's see first what are colloids. Between two extremes of suspension and solution. Solutions are, as we already discussed, homogeneous transparent mixture of two or more than two components, and the suspensions are heterogeneous translucent mixture of two or more than two components. In solution, particles completely diffused in solvent. In suspension, there is almost no diffusion of particles. So the colloid is actually an intermediate stage. A colloid is heterogeneous system. It appears like homogeneous, but it is actually heterogeneous system. It appears homogeneous, in which one substance is dispersed as very fine particle in another substance called dispersion medium. Solvent like phase is here is dispersion medium, and solute like phase here is dispersed phase. Colloid particles are larger than simple molecules but small enough to remain suspended. The particle size is between 1 and 1000 nanometer, which is 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the power minus 6 meter. It means the size of solution particle is less than 1 nanometer and size of suspension particles will be more than 1000 nanometer. And the size of colloidal particle, colloids particles have size between 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. Colloid particles have an enormous surface area per unit mass as a result of their small size. These particles, small size particles, they have, as we had already discussed in adsorption surface area, powdered form has more surface area. So there is or very small size of particles and it's great surface area they have. Classification of colloids. Colloids are classified on the basis of following criteria. One is physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Second is interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. And third is type of particles of the dispersed phase. Here we are going one by one. The first is classification based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The dispersed phase, dispersion medium, type of colloid and examples are here. Let first dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is again solid. So dispersed phase and dispersion medium when solid, type of colloid will be solid sol, and you can see examples, some colored glasses and gemstones. Solid liquid, types of colloid will be sol, and the example of paints, cell fluids. Solid gas, whenever you mix in gas, that will be aerosol. Smoke, dust. Solid, smoke consists unburnt carbon particles. When mixed in gas, they form aerosol, that is a type of colloid when solid mixed in gas. When liquid mixed in solid, in that case a type of colloid will be gel. The yummy cheese, butter, jellies, they are some examples of gel. Liquid emulsion. When two liquid has been mixed and form colloid, that is emulsion. Milk, hair cream, etc. are emulsions. When liquid mix in gas, again it is aerosol. Fog, mist, cloud, insecticide spray, any type of spray generally include in it. Gas in solid, that again solid sol. When you mix anything in gas, that will be aerosol. When you mix anything in solid, that will be, except liquid in solid, that will be solid salt. Pumice stone, foam, rubber, etc. Gas in liquid, this is foam, froth, whipped cream, soap, leather. These are some examples. So this is classification. So basically most important is gel, which is liquid in solid, liquid in liquid, which is emulsion. Anything when you mix in air, that will be aerosol, right? So by such way we can remember all the name of such colloids, and examples are very important. 1 mark question came in last year examinations, in your school examinations, and competition always 4 marks question generally observed in NEET. Now the classification based on nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Here it is not mentioned in the table, so I'm going to mention it. I'm going to telling you that in lyophilic salt and lyophobic salt, they are based on nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. And here the great interaction between lyophilic salt, between dispersed phase and dispersion medium in lyophilic salt, and very poor interaction in lyophobic salt. Very great interaction, again I am telling you, great interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium in lyophilic salt. How can we define lyophilic salt? Such salt in which there is great interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium are known as lyophilic salt. And in lyophobic salt, there is poor interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Okay, and all other properties is based on this factor only, and this definition only, like preparation. So lyophilic salt, they easily intermix dispersed phase and dispersion medium, hence it is easy to prepare lyophilic salt. But specific method required for preparation of lyophobic salt. Stability, as usual, those have better interaction are more stable. Those have least interaction, they are less stable. Reversibility, lyophobic, once they lost their colloidal nature, never be again colloid, but lyophilic are reversible. Once they lose, again may convert into colloid. Reversibility, I mentioned. Viscosity is nearly same as the solvent. Lyophilic viscosity is much higher than that solvent, because although both are easily intermixed. Surface tension is almost same as the solvent, but surface tension is usually low. Hydration or solvation, these are less solvated, as the particles have less affinity for the solvent. These are highly solvated. Charge, the particles carry characteristic charge, either positive or negative. The particles have little charge or no charge at all in lyophilic generally, little charge generally. Particles can be seen under a microscope, cannot be seen. Coagulation by a small electrolyte. Electrolyte may coagulate many colloids. We will discuss in coagulation part also, but low amount required because they are unstable. But in lyophilic, very high amount required. We will discuss Tyndall effect. So more scattering, the more Tyndall effect observed in lyophilic colloid we will discuss, and the lyophilic colloid less scattering. Migration in electric field, so more charge, so significant migration observed. General example, mostly inorganic in nature, so that inorganic salts are like sulfur salt, gold salt, any PPT when we convert in salt in colloidal salt, they all are in lyophobic nature, lyophobic salt. And most of organic nature, when you mix starch, when you mix other gelatin like substance, they will form lyophilic salt. So this is very important classification. Classification based on the type of particles of dispersed phase. It is completely based on the particle type of dispersed phase. Like multimolecular colloid, they are formed by aggregation of large number of atoms or molecules which generally have diameter less than 1 nanometer, and when they coagulate they form large molecule which come under the range of colloid 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. Macromolecular colloid, they are all molecules of large size always. Associated colloid, they are formed by the aggregation of large number of ions in concentrated solution. This is called association also. Examples: salts of gold and sulfur. They are example polymer like rubber, nylon, starch. Example soap salt. Their molecular mass are not very high. Their molecular mass is very high, and their molecular masses are generally high. So their atoms or molecule are held together by weak van der Waals forces. In multimolecular colloids, due to long chain, the van der Waals force holding them comparatively stronger, and higher the concentration, greater the van der Waals forces. Generally, multimolecular colloids are lyophobic in nature. Macromolecular colloids may both types, they found lyophobic as well as lyophilic. Like starch is lyophilic, rubber is lyophobic, right? Associated colloids, they are lyophilic. Mechanism of micelle formation, we are going to discuss about. Soap is sodium or potassium salt of higher fatty acid and may be represented by such formula. Examples: sodium stearate. It is sodium salt of stearic acid, which is a major component of many bar soaps. When dissolved in water, it dissociates into RCO minus and Na plus. RCO minus ion, however, consists two parts. One is long hydrocarbon chain R. One is long hydrocarbon chain. One is long hydrocarbon chain R, and another polar group CO minus, which is hydrophilic. Polar CO minus, which is hydrophilic. So this is long carbon chain and this is polar head. Long carbon chain is non-polar tail, oil soluble hydrocarbon. Polar head, water soluble part. The RCO minus ion are present on the surface with their CO minus group in water, and the hydrocarbon mixed in water, CO minus group remain toward water and hydrocarbon chain staying away from it and remain at the surface. So both they aggregate to form, many RCO minus units aggregate to form a spherical shape with their hydrocarbon chain pointing toward the center of the sphere and CO minus part remaining outward on the surface of the sphere. An aggregate thus formed is known as ionic micelle. You can see here this polar head and this is carbon chain. So the head remain outward and the chain remain centerward, and they aggregate and form a micelle. These micelle contain as many as 100 such ions. The formation of micelle takes place only above a particular temperature called Kraft temperature and above a particular concentration, which is critical micelle concentration. Critical micelle concentration is that concentration below which formation of micelle is not possible, above which formation of micelle is only possible. On dilution, these colloids revert back to individual ion. Obviously, surface active agents such as soap and synthetic detergent belong to this class. They form micelle. For soap, CMC is 10 to the power minus 4 to 10 to the power minus 3. CMC is critical micelle concentration. In case of detergent like sodium lauryl sulfate, the polar group is SO4 minus along with the long hydrocarbon chain. The mechanism of micelle formation here also same as that of soap. We are here going to discuss about mechanism of soap. How will soap work, or cleansing action of soap. Initially you can see this is polar head, water soluble part. This is the long carbon chain. This is long carbon chain which is non-polar part. As we applied soap on dirty cloth, these are soap molecule like RCO minus soap molecule, and they aggregate, and that non-polar tails collect at the center and trap this dirt particle. Generally dirt particle like are organic in nature, so this is very easy for a hydrocarbon tail to trap it and then form complete missile. And when rinsed with water, this the missile trapped dirt particle removed from the surface, and dirt free cloth we get. So this is mechanism of soap. Now here we are going to discuss about preparation of colloids. So there are some general methods of preparation of colloids, specific method actually they are. Some are chemical methods. By chemical methods, by various chemical reaction like double decomposition, AS2O3 and H2S, AS2S3 colloid form, SO2H2S, by oxidation that sulfur sol is formed, AuCl3 and formaldehyde when reduced, gold sol will form, and hydrolysis that we got ferric hydroxide salt. So these are specific methods for preparation of colloids. Electrical disintegration of Braddock's arc method. This process involves dispersion as well as condensation. Initially, when metal electrode dipped in water and KOS solution and high electricity passed through it, a arc is formed, and at this high temperature initially that metal, gold metal, dispersed, vaporized, and then again condensed due to cool ice, presence of cool ice. So first is dispersed and then condensed. So by this way a gold sol, metal sol prepared. One more important method, that is called peptization. Peptization may be defined as the process of converting a precipitate, fresh precipitate into colloidal sol by shaking it with dispersion medium in presence of a small amount of electrolyte. The electrolyte used for this purpose is called peptizing agent. During peptization, the precipitate absorbed one of the ion of electrolyte on its surface. This caused the development of positive and negative charge on precipitate, which ultimately break up into smaller particles of the size of a colloid. The sol particle acquire positive or negative charge by preferential adsorption of positive or negative ion. When two or more ions are present in dispersion medium, preferential adsorption of the ion. You can see here when solution of silver nitrate added to potassium iodide. Solution of silver nitrate is added to potassium iodide. It means less silver nitrate, more potassium iodide. So what happens in this case? Silver nitrate react with potassium iodide and form silver iodide PPT, and remaining iodide ion adsorb on silver iodide, and this ion occupied negatively charged. If vice versa happen, potassium iodide solution is added to AgNO3 solution. In that case, more AgNO3 is there, so AgI PPT again will form, but Ag plus is adsorbed. For another example, if we can see FeCl3 is added to excess of hot water, a positively charged sol of hydrated ferric oxide is formed due to adsorption of Fe3 plus ion. Ferric chloride is added to NaOH solution, a negatively charged sol is obtained and adsorption of OH minus ion. So that different ion is adsorbed. Gives Helmholtz double layer. Having acquired a positive or negative charge by selective adsorption on the surface of colloid particle, this layer attracts counter ion, the different remaining ion, from the medium, forming a second layer. The combination of two layers of oppositely charged around the colloidal particle is called double layer. If sodium sulfide has been mixed in arsenic sulfide, what will happen? Then the precipitate of arsenic sulfide form, which absorbs sulfide ion in first layer and sodium ion in second layer. This sulfide ion is adsorbed layer and the sodium ion is the second layer. Counter ion it is. According to modern view, the first layer of ion is firmly held and termed fixed layer, while the second layer is mobile, which is termed a diffused layer. So the layer of sodium ion is diffused layer and layer of sulfide ion will be fixed layer. And it is very clear, wherever the two layers, like a capacitor, two layer formed in that in which one is negatively charged or oppositely charged when they are, the potential difference create between them, and such here also again the same potential create and the named as electrokinetic potential or zeta potential. If two particles of an insoluble material do not have double layer, they can come close enough and attract van der Waals forces, pull them together. But when particle passes double layer, the overall effect is that particles repel each other at a large distance of separation. It is very needy to know when a double layer they come close enough, there is no force of attraction. In that case, they neutralize, they just remain together, and hence the presence of colloids is not observed. But if because of the presence of charge, there is a repulsion between them, they remain at large distance. In that case, dispersed, they remain dispersed and colloid is stabilized. The two particles of insoluble material do not have double layer. If do not have double layer, they can come close enough and attractive van der Waals forces pull them together. But when particle passes double layer, the overall effect is that particles repel each other at large distance of separation, and this repulsion prevents their close approach. They remain dispersed and colloid is stabilized. This is the reason of stability of colloids. One of the reasons. Right, it is a need to know. The addition of more electrolyte to salt suppresses the diffuse double layer and reduce the zeta potential, and this decreases the electrostatic repulsion between particles to a large extent and colloid precipitate. That's why colloid is particularly sensitive to oppositely charged ions. So when we mix the oppositely charged ion, that case, then this more electrolyte salt suppress the diffused double layer and reduce zeta potential. This decreases the electrolytic repulsion between particles to a large extent. So when we mix, like it is negatively charged colloid, add positive charged colloid. If we add positive charged colloid, it suppresses the diffuse layer, and this electrokinetic potential reduce. And when it is reduced, in that case the distance between them decrease, and when they come close, van der Waals force operate, and if it is enough that electrolyte, in that case it is it may coagulate or colloidal nature may lost. Right. So you can see here one more example I have. Potassium hydroxide makes an aluminum chloride solution. So first it form aluminum hydroxide, a PPT, and then OH minus aluminum chloride solution. So in that case, when potassium hydroxide mixed in, when aluminum chloride solution mixed in potassium hydroxide, then aluminum oxide precipitate form, which absorb hydroxide ion as first layer and potassium ion as second layer. AlOH ka whole thrice will give OH minus and K plus. Here we can see the colloidal particle AlOH ka whole thrice form, this is colloid, and this is first layer made up of it is different from this. First layer made up of Here by this way we can see it is made up of negatively charged ions. It is made up of negatively charged ions, which is called fixed layer, and it is positively charged ions that is diffuse layer. By this way this is different. Okay, if it is that potassium hydroxide has been mixed in aluminum chloride, in that case this diagram is good, this diagram is correct. But here we mixed aluminum chloride solution in potassium hydroxide, then opposite charge is there. The colloidal particle here will be OH minus and here will be potassium. So it is just need to know, for this it is negative here and positive here. If aluminum potassium hydroxide has been mixed in aluminum chloride, it will be this, right? So remember it, just first layer is fixed layer and other one is diffused layer, right? Thank you for today.